It is indeed a great pleasure for me to join you today. So, CDI-Africa Coaching Group Fraternity, fellow coaches, the coaching graduates, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Let me appreciate this invitation to give a keynote address during this graduation ceremony and indicate that it is such a delight because looking through the attendees, I see former colleagues, I see friends, I see a classmate. So this is really nice that we can be able to engage on this platform today. We gather here today for this 9th CDI Coaching Group graduation ceremony under the theme, Leading in the 21st Century, Making Transformation an Everyday Agenda. This theme could not be more apt, as in the 21st century, we are presented with such unique challenges, from global pandemics to economic upheavals and even geopolitical tensions that are being experienced globally. In such a dynamic and complex environment, we need leaders who can navigate uncertainty and complexity. But how do you embrace transformational leadership in such a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world, what they call a VUCA world? How do you do this? Especially because the world today has gone further ahead to gain more adjectives, that it's chaotic, it's breeding the development of a new acronym called BANI. It's brittle, it's anxious, it's non-linear, it's incomprehensible. Just how do you do this? It certainly calls for courage. It calls for accepting that what will almost always land us on our desk will be more gray than black or white. It calls for a mindset shift, and it certainly calls for a greater you, a greater version of you. I encourage you today to view your leadership journey as a marathon rather than a sprint. In this marathon, sometimes you will win, and sometimes you will learn, or what we say, you will fail forward, because you do not lose by not being the winner. Instead, you gather lessons, wisdom, and perspective on how to move forward and how to do things differently. Sometimes, indeed, you will feel like you're taking steps backwards rather than forwards. This is how transformation occurs, bit by bit, step by step. Transformation is hardly ever loud. It happens in such a succinct manner. Your team slowly becomes more engaged, they plug in, and your team becomes more comfortable with ambiguity. The bottom line then begins to shift. Then all of a sudden, the rest of the world notices. Transformation leadership is really like an iceberg. Those of us on the outside just see the tip of the iceberg, which is really the outcome of intentional and courageous leadership, usually hidden below the surface. It's about long hours, it's about patience, resilience, engagement, coaching, motivation, and it takes a lot of courage to do this. And remember, the rest of us on the outside only just see the tip of the iceberg. Ryan Holiday, the popular author of the book Courage is Calling, said that the belief that an individual can make a difference is the first step. The next is understanding that actually you can be that person. Yes, we can all be agents of change, and we can be the transformational leaders that this country and the world needs. Dear graduates, your graduation is a testament that you have accepted the call to become your best selves. You have accepted the call to lead with intention and purpose. You have accepted the call to leave a lasting legacy. I would like to share 3 principles that I also learned, they were imparted on me, and they have served me in my own leadership journey. The first one is about leadership through asking powerful questions. Today, we have access to more information and data than ever before in history. In fact, we probably have not seen anything yet because with emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, we will continue to receive a lot more information that is curated to suit our needs, our tastes, and the perspectives or the interests that are picked in our journey on the net. And this will continue to load us with more and more information as data and technology continue to advance. However, this does not always mean that we have access through this information that we need to solve complex business challenges that we face. How then do we thrive in a space where you do not have all the information that you need to reach a decision? How then do you continue to thrive where information that you held as trite is being challenged, where assumptions that you have made are now contestable? How do you thrive? Leadership also puts us in spaces where we need to work and collaborate with all kinds of people, irrespective of age, race, personality, faith, and the like. Managing people, and managing people well for that matter, is almost always difficult for most leaders. And I'm sure that we all have tales of experiences from managing people as part of our work. As people, our tendency would be to avoid conflict as much as possible. However, as leaders, is avoiding conflict an option? I posit that it isn't. As a leader, you should actually be comfortable with this kind of a situation of facing conflict. You should actually be ready to move towards conflict. As a leader, you should be ready not to position situations where, when dealing with situations, you either emerge as a winner or a loser. Instead, keep your eye on the ultimate outcome that you want. Remember, it is about winning the war rather than the battle, and at all costs, avoid getting involved in skirmishes. In this regard, I have found that leadership through powerful questions is instrumental in managing people. Asking the right questions, as you must have learned in your coaching classes, is not only powerful, but it helps to reduce or to manage conflict. This is because questions have a unique quality. Questions are invitational, and they put others first. They indicate your openness and interest in hearing the perspective of the other person, and they communicate respect. Questions help to build relationships. Questions spur innovations and ignite curiosity. Questions create spaciousness, and they teach others to think. They invite the people in that questioning platform to actually engage towards reaching a defined ultimate goal. Questions are regenerative. They reverberate. They generate new questions, and questions actually can be very energizing. The second perspective that I have learned over time is to choose optimism. A lot of information that comes to us today about the world we live in tends to be negative. It is so easy to get caught up in this negative space if one is not mindful. Transformational leadership calls for us to rise above the chaos of the world, what they also call the eagle strategy. The eagle flies way above the storm. This does not mean that we should live in oblivion, not at all. It means that we must deliberately choose what to focus on. In the wisdom of King Solomon, he advised us in Proverbs 4:23, above all else, Guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. The leadership guru, John Maxwell, defines leadership simply as influence. As leaders, we're expected to set the vision and the standard for our followers. I believe this is more so when you have trained as a coach, you have been exported to learning about the power of coaching and the power that coaching can unlock. We therefore set the tone and the energy of the organizations and the people we lead. And it was a delight listening to some of the earlier presentations, speaking to the perspectives around coaching, the learnings and the sparring of teams to boost performance. It is therefore said that a leader's attitude is like a thermostat for the place he or she works. If her attitude is good, the atmosphere is pleasant and the environment is easy to work in. But if the attitude is bad, the temperature is insufferable. This is what John C. Maxwell said. So optimism sends a message of possibility to followers. I believe you will agree with me that optimism is a message that we can all do with right now when the world is going through difficult circumstances of recapturing and recovery. Let us all therefore be very mindful of that which we impart on our followers. The third perspective is to look for your tribe. It is said, show me your friends and I will show you your future. Your being part of this graduation today says a lot about who you are and the ambitions that you have for yourself as an individual, the ambitions that you have for your business, and the ambitions that you have for your community and the country and the world at large. Indeed, for Kenya and the world today, the need for transformational and elevating power of coaching is required and is highly welcome. I invite you today to step into this role and to guard your contribution to this country and the world diligently. Note, not everyone is always for you, and you're not for everyone. As they say, you're not everyone's cup of tea. And even the coaching that you learn might not be positively received in the first instance. But I'm glad that even today, listening to some of the previous speakers, I did hear of positive outcomes out of coaching. So develop the clarity of mind to know that which you need and identify those who are for you and build your tribe. Often we want to fit in, we want to be accepted, and this is absolutely normal. But for transformational leaders like yourselves, it calls for an elevation of mind and heart. And remember, sometimes it is okay to be alone until you find the people to journey with you. A story of one of the greatest coaches who ever lived is told. His name was John Wooden. I only recently heard of him, and I'll tell you his story. John Wooden was nearly both the definition of inspiration and the creator of fundamentals. He was a winner. John Wooden was an English teacher. He still holds the unbeatable record in sports history with 10 national championships under his belt in 12 tries. His basketball teams won 37 straight National Collegiate Athletic Association tournament games and also won a record 88 consecutive games. It took him 16 years to win his first national championship. 16 years. But when he did, the team featured no player over 6'5" against the norm for basketball. John Wooden will be remembered in history not for his success, but for the way he accomplished what he did. He won the right way. He respected the competition, but he worried more about how his own team prepared than what the competition was doing. John Wooden expected his team to execute the game plan to perfection. Coach had a clear image of how the game of basketball was supposed to be played and conveyed that image to his players. He coached fundamentals and nothing more. Judging by his success, I would say it worked. The story of John Wooden teaching his players the right way to every daily function and why they must do it that way to be great is the lesson for all of us. Teaching his players the right way to put on their socks, how to tie their shoes, and eventually moving into the basics of the game of basketball. One would wonder, why would he teach someone how to put on socks in the right way? And he had a reason for everything. This was because blisters are prevented by wearing your socks correctly. Ankle injuries are prevented by tightening your shoes adequately. In this case, they were truly learning the fundamentals. Coach Wooden's approach teaches us a lot about leadership. It's about poise, confidence, condition, skill, team spirit, self-control, alertness, initiative, intentness, industriousness, friendship, loyalty, cooperation, enthusiasm, all key ingredients to the success of any team. And Coach Wooden understood that. He was truly a great coach. He never spoke about winning, but understood that if his team followed the game plan, they stuck together, and most importantly, they respected one another, and success surely would come. Presenting the Presidential Medal of Freedom to John Wooden in 2003, President George W. Bush said, "All his players will tell you, the most important man on their team was not in the court." That truly is the place of the coach. As your clients continue to achieve, you will find that the most important person on their team, their coach, is not on the court. As you graduate today, may the people you lead, the people who work with you, the people around you be better off for having interacted and be coached by yourselves. May it be said for you, along the lyrics, "I Was Here" by Beyonce, that you left your footprints on the sands of time, that there was something that meant something that you left behind, that you had no regrets when you left this world, and that you left something to remember so we won't forget. Dear graduates, in closing, I would like to congratulate each and every one of you. You have taken an important step towards becoming transformational leaders, towards becoming servant leaders, putting people first and seeking that they would achieve on the court when you're off the court. By obtaining this coaching certification, I charge you to take up your space and do that which God has placed in your hands in the best way possible. Congratulations once again, and thank you for your kind attention.
Wow, thank you so much. We celebrate you, CS Mercy Wanjau.